Hey there, River here, reporting for duty on air trigger. Thank you so much for shuffling states of emergency into adoption spirit magic with us and steering clear of danger. Heartily, we are grateful. Welcome to Čačo Busin, our weekly circle, our weekly Tuesday night circle. And I'm wondering if this is working for you. Let's see. Perhaps that is more effective. Not quite sure. Thank you for your patience. And so we meet on Tuesdays. We have been meeting for Tuesdays for this past year. At which to take and before which to take on Zoom. And we gather here to help you play your cards. You may hop in whenever you want. You may leave whenever you want. And yeah, you're already playing your cards. And so if you're looking for a little extra assistance, perhaps this circle assists. And let us say a little prayer, Thich Nhat Hanh Bell mantra. You may join or just hold the intention of love in your heart. And love we shall see. I needed to walk across the room and ring the bell. So the bell mantra goes something like this: mind, body, speech, in perfect oneness, I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Heartily, we are grateful. And so, thank you for your patience. That Thich Nhat Hanh Bell mantra, we really adore Thich Nhat Hanh and his teachings. He is on the other side now, and you may find out more about him at his Plum Village. Oh my, I apologize for the camera angle. Not quite sure what to do about this right now. In the middle of things, I thought I had it, and I didn't. So, Thich Nhat Hanh, you may find him, I don't know, in some of the descriptions, his Plum Village, or you may find your way there on your own, doing your own search. And so we adore Thich Nhat Hanh, his teachings, and sharing that bell mantra to honor the neighbors, the passers-by, the ambulance, the fire trucks, the Harleys, right? Anybody who's coming through as we are holding our session, coming through on the outside, and perhaps we're hearing them on the inside, and just to honor them and to allow them safe passage. And so this is a weekly circle, like I said. I am not a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist. I'm a fortune teller. So what I offer is no substitute for their services. Furthermore, what I share does not determine your future. Only your intentions and actions do. So please use your gifts of discernment before deciding what to gather and take away. And of course, take only what resonates and blow like a kiss the rest back to the universe for cosmic composting into beauty. And this is for fun and games, for shits and giggles, for entertainment, for flexing our heart, mind, body, soul, emotions, and intuition. And at the least, I hope to cause harm to none. And at the most, I hope I may assist you on your healing path. So, pardon me, I am adjusting to turn on a fan. And we are looking into what's working, what's not. So we're going to dive into this notebook in a minute. And also at the end, I think we may pull a card from the Tree Angel Oracle deck. And one moment please, while I shift gears for a moment. Thank you very much. And so your cards, you were born playing your cards. You've been playing your cards. And so awesome. Congratulations. And thank you so much for steering clear of danger and playing your cards. And so for these times when you're like, wow, something's not working, I'm playing my cards, something's not working, this is the time you may check in with us. And for starters, you may add to your deck of cards a T-chart, what's working and what's not. And so this is something that you can create and do weekly, moonly, sunly. But in one segment of the T, let's see if we have it here. It'll be like quadrants, I suppose. And what's working, what's not? What are you going to do? What is the other person going to do? And so I don't have the example right here, but you can imagine a T-chart across. So in this segment, what's working, what's not, what are you going to do, what is XYZPDQ going to do, and perhaps at the top you also date it because it's fun to revisit and see how you've made progress, and so you can keep track of these easily. And perhaps at the bottom you have your standards, a list of your standards. And for more ideas about that, you can look into teaching standards, right? We're all teachers, we're all folk artists, we're all fortune tellers. And so thinking about standards, it may be interesting to look at teaching standards, the teaching standards in your state perhaps. I have adjusted them and I have a whole page of standards immersed in adoption spirit magic. And so you may check those out at my Coventina site through my Which to Take site on the About page. And so you may be playing your cards if you are dancing out of the fog of adoption fairy tales, gypsy myths, the matriarchy, the patriarchy, the grief struck by loss, sad god mad, fearful, authoritative, amygdala, cycling, fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn, emergency states. And so what do you do when you're dancing away from those ways of life and dismantling those ways of life peacefully, joyfully? How do you fill in the gaps? You play your cards. You've already been playing your cards, but perhaps you've been playing other people's cards more than yours. So that may be one hot tip, is to just kind of check your deck of cards. Probably it's in your head right now, and check in with your cards. Which ones are really yours, and maybe which ones are inherited and you adopted, quote unquote, without thinking or not thinking. You know, how we just kind of like take things like, oh, well, that's just how it is. And so you may check in with your cards and see, oh, which are mine, which aren't. And these are some examples of teaching cards that you may adjust to fit on your own. You can see these are from Edu Press. I got them at Jonathan's in Tucson when I first started teaching back in the day, back in the 90s. So exciting. 6 Traits of Writing. We at Amphitheater High School in Tucson, Arizona, all of the teachers were trained. If you're a math teacher, if you're an art teacher, if you're a phys ed teacher, everyone was trained in the 6 Traits of Writing. And then a couple times a year, all the students, I think it was 3rd period, the whole schedule changed and all the students were assigned a writing prompt. And they had to write, and then for that period, and then all the teachers would gather in the cafeteria or the multi-purpose room and assess those essays on the 6 Traits of Writing. And so that is one of the standards that has just become practice for us, maybe for you too. And so You may play these cards when you're dancing away from those old ways of life, the adoption fairy tales, the gypsy myths, the matriarchy, the patriarchy, the grief struck by loss amygdala. And, you know, those times where we used to get mad and march forward, and we're not doing that anymore. You may turn to these cards. And part of my job is to repeat myself like a happy broken record. So you may have seen some of these before. And I mean, so this is a whole thing. These times when we get mad and we're not marching forward angrily anymore, we are immersing into adoption spirit magic. These are the times to pull out the cards and play through, you know, this madness that possesses us. We get so grief struck by loss, we get possessed by grief, and we hurt ourselves or other people. Like September was just Suicide Awareness Month, and you know, this grief, the loss that causes us to take down Twin Towers, right? So we don't want to do that anymore, right? All the different ways that loss plays out in these devastating ways, we don't want to do that anymore. We want to step out of those cycles, and so we play our cards. And you see here, these are history cards from teaching world history. As a teacher of world history, I was trying to learn so I could better serve the students, right? These different themes of history that we see in our everyday life. So relevant right now. If you looked in a history book at the table of contents, you might see these themes. Oh, maybe those were U.S. history. Maybe they were geography. Here's world history. What did that say at the bottom? No, I think that was the overall history connection. History. Now we're into world history. So as that first card, I'm just going to flip back for a second as we are on that cooperation and conflict. There's two sides to every card. And so that is one of the big pieces that may help you play through is to honor the loss and write it in pencil and know that the positive flip side comes eventually, and you can just keep playing through the other cards that you have in your deck. That's huge. To honor your loss in a way that nobody else can. You know, this is another form of suicide prevention or homeland security, and to own that and to own your losses and to own they're so devastating, and to create a safe space to play through. And speaking of safe space to play through, what's your treatment room look like? Do you have a treatment table? Do you have crystals? Do you have candles, safe candles? Do you have art supplies? Do you have a weighted blanket? Do you have the headphones to do the sound healing treatments? Do you have plant-based medicine? Is it food and herbs? Is it water? All the different treatments to play through when that loss is so intense that we can't even think straight. So you can just prepare for those times. So when they come, you can be like, all right, I get to put that into play. I get to put my Epsom salt bath into play, or I get to use my pretty cry towel now, or I get to use my pretty cry towel for 3 days straight if I want, because I'm going to put myself in a 3-day hold, because that loss was so devastating that if I try to move out before that, I might hurt myself or someone else. And to do that in a safe, sound way. And so many, from personal to national, are working with this issue. So you're right on track. You're in the correct place. I'm reminded to share Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You may check it out yourself. And one of the interesting things about Maslow's hierarchy of needs is that the need to know, the need to learn, is closer to the top of the pyramid than the bottom of the pyramid. The top of the pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is like, you have achieved your success. And the bottom of that pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the bottom level is like shelter, love, food. But the need to know, the need to learn happens way at the top of that pyramid. And so when we think about how come students get left behind, how come youth through elder get left behind, it's because so often that the need to know comes up at the higher, the need to learn, the need to evolve. So many things need to be in place before that happens. Food, shelter, safety, right? And so we can cut ourselves some slack as we go up and down that pyramid through life, as different events happen, whether they're man-made disasters or human-made disasters, and to soul surf through. God bless Robin Williams. So wild cards. You may stack your deck with wild cards that make you giggle. Laughter is a beautiful medicine, except when it's at the expense of others, and sarcasm is one of those. I know we have such an attachment to sarcasm, and myself included, and I had to give it up. And I just noticed, wow, it leaves at least one person behind every time, and it's usually a young person or somebody who's disabled or deceased, and I just got tired of hurting people. And for the best, right? All the reasons we leave people behind, and it just is Eric Fromm, if you're wondering. So you can stack your deck with different wild cards of quotes that inspire you, different activities, like perhaps there's some TV shows that really offer you some treatments to help play through the loss and the trauma. Perhaps you do some reading on male and female heroes, the divine masculine and the divine feminine within you, how you're able to receive and grow organically and lean into your intuition, and how you are able to guard and protect that in a loving, safe, and secure way, right? And yeah, this came up the other day, right? This revisiting, and I was sure when this day happened. I knew it happened. I was working in Paris High School at the time, in Paris, Riverside, California, and I was driving to school. I'm like, oh, okay, I know. And this is America's, the USA's chance to like say, hey, we get it. We understand. We really fucked up. You know, we're pissing people off. Fuck it. We're sorry. God bless it. And we're going to make a change. And, well, you all have seen what happened. The majority of the people in the U.S. reacted out of grief instead, and not possessed by grief state. So we have this kind of back and forth still going, that authoritative amygdala that sabotages even the most well-meaning democracies. And I use the word well. I'm trying not to use the word good or any of its derivatives at this stage of our game, in an effort to adopt success for everyone, transmuting violent cycles to love. We've seen, wow, good isn't so helpful, sort of like evil isn't so helpful. They both sort of, good, bad, evil, assist us in leaving behind one person after another instead of adopting success for one person after another. So we started leaving that good word behind. And so you can see these cards are going all over the place. These were borrowed or adapted from different spaces. I have had a history, a past. In my past, I have spoken very violently on top of acting violently. And so at a point, realizing I don't want to do that anymore. I want to step out of those violent cycles that I was born and bred into, and to immerse into adoption spirit magic. So how to do that. So some of these cards help teach me a different way, and perhaps you find the same. And did I write down where these were from? I don't think I wrote on the back. So big safety card, I mentioned already, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's one that you may revisit a lot. You may check out different versions on Google or whatever your search engine is, and then create your own. And maybe also have a blank version of Maslow's to see where you fit. at different times in your life. Perhaps you have little love letters from your people comprise some of your cards. Study sessions from books. This was nonviolent communication I did with a beautiful, brilliant creative from the New Teachers Center. And different art pieces, and trying to respect each person's confidentiality, equity, self-respect. So I began playing my cards in earnest in the year 2000. I wasn't able to get to my arts due to the rigors of teaching and the nature of adoption, and I couldn't even say it. But I saw that flashcards helped me learn languages, they helped me learn my teaching facts, they helped me learn my math facts. Well, they could help me make my dreams come true and help me do my art each day and live artful life, determine my dreams even if I did not know what they were. And they did. So one of the cards that year was I am an artist, and 12 years later, 2012, I was invited to the Voice of Roma Crossing Borders exhibit. 2012, it was the first Romani Gypsy art, culture, and history exhibit for females. And so that was so thrilling, and it raised awareness for Romani and earned congressional recognition, and it also earned April the month in Petaluma, where the exhibit was at the Historical Museum in Petaluma, California. It earned that month of April Roma month, so people in Petaluma may honor that. Different mandalas. So beyond belief, dreams come true playing your cards. And another card I wrote that year was writing is my path away from modern day slavery. And I couldn't even say then that I was Mustalainen, Kale, my Romani tribe name actually means black. And the Romani have a history of slavery, and I didn't even know this history. So in 2000, when I started playing my cards and this card came out, I wrote this card on one of our outdoor excursions, and it surprised me. It surprised me on many levels, and ever since I've been writing my path out of modern day slavery. And I have a blog that you can see my progress, and different little booklets, and helping dismantle the adoption fairy tales, the gypsy myths, the matriarchy, the patriarchy. It's thrilling. And don't get me wrong, this is not child's play. This is not for the faint of heart, right? This is homeland security, preventing wars, emotional and physical wars, and preventing us from hurting ourselves and other people when we are so grief-struck by loss. Here in Adoption Spirit Magic, we see that seeing people as evil isn't so helpful in adopting success for one and all. In fact, it sabotages it. It helps us leave behind one person after another, and we don't want to do that anymore. And so, I mean, here we can keep playing our cards. You can see that's just one notebook, and this one has come up before. And so thanks for revisiting and understanding what it might look like when you are playing your cards, and perhaps something here clicked, and without any practice, without any discipline, just all of a sudden you are able to step up to the next level that you have been working for. And if not, if you have some questions, you may leave them in the comments, and perhaps I can address them and get more personal. And if you are in charge of young people who aren't able to start actually physically making their own deck of cards, you may start making them for them. Like perhaps you hear them say, I am an artist. And so you you honor that and you write that down nice and neat and you keep it in a safe space for them, and and you can honor them in that way. And so when they are able to, or perhaps somebody else has to take over for a while, a babysitter, perhaps you can hand them their deck of cards and help them understand what may be helpful as they spend their time together and evolve. And so, yeah, your deck of cards, helping you play through loss to live the life you want to live, from crisis to diaspora to blessed dreams coming true again and again and again, here, there, and beyond. And so, to wrap up, we are picking a card from the Tree Angel Oracle, The Ancient Path into the Sacred Grove by Fred Hageneter, illustrated by Heng. And you are a whole, full, powerful, loving, spiritual being, and so am I. And we thank your source and my source for immediately shifting situations into what they need to be, offering necessary insights, healings, acts of grace, protection. Heartily, we are grateful. And so it was, and so it was, and so it was, and so it was. So we have the beach, the beautiful, beautiful beach. Oh my. Perhaps you are inspired as much by the beach as I am. And so let's see what the Tree Angel Oracle has to say about this. Oh, but before we dive in, the numerology. We are all different psychosocial science experiments, and what resonates for you may be different than me, so I invite you to explore more the numerology or anything else you hear or see or feel as you visit here to make this reading more meaningful for you. But off the top of my head, that 2, it's a beautiful number for duality, and that sharing of power with a healthy manner, a healthy, equitable, dignified relationship, which for so many orphans and adoptees, this is something we strive for. It hasn't been there. There's always been another putting, not always, perhaps, let me choose another word. Often there is another putting themselves above, their needs above. And so this 2 helps equalize that. So there's no superior, there's no inferior. We are all equals. And then that 6, it's a beautiful number of service, differentiates between light and dark and the choices we make between those 2. And it also helps protect us in those instances where people are so grief struck by loss that they may psychically lash out. They may be talking trash over food and drink and laughing, talking trash about you, or physically lashing out. And so in those times that people are so possessed by grief, those people, and they lash out, this number 6 may assist you in that, helping you maintain your integrity by maintaining your boundaries. Perhaps you walk a different way, perhaps you dance away from those circles where that is cycling. Perhaps you create art pieces or mantras out of these numbers to assist you in playing through that loss. It's so predictable and devastating. And so how do you play through, and how do you steer clear of that danger? And maybe some of that numerology assists you in that. And that 8, the 2 and the 6, they add up to an 8, that number of power and infinity, and helps us break those patterns or habits that have kept us bound, held hostage. Uh, Sort of like some may view adoption, if you are out of the fog and tuning into the adoption experts, the adoptees in the field, and or perhaps you have studied political science and you are familiar with Stockholm syndrome, and that the different levels of hostage situations from top to bottom, and how that plays out. And so that 8 helps us release from that and understand it from a different angle, and to be able to forgive and and halt that generational cycle of of humans just struggling, drowning, all drowning to live, and to build a new, secure, safe earth All right, so 26. Beach. The silver and green beach angel is the custodian of time's annals, the archiver of memory, and the high priest of the spirit realm. Its mentor is Saturn, guardian of the threshold. Having mastered the past, this angel has remarkable powers in the present. It is ready to share its determination, concentration, intensity, and vitality with you. It protects, holds close, and preserves. This angel stands for reliability, responsibility, and honor. It is also the patron of writing, an art that serves to record and preserve. I love that that came up as we were talking about the divine masculine, and it was bringing up so many of those qualities, and also that we were bringing up writing. Writing is my path away from modern day slavery, and yours as well. And then it brought that up as well. That beach helps in that. And magical alphabets such as runes and oracles, among others, are a little different and are influenced by Ash, Rowan, and of course the U. Thank you so much, Source. So beautiful. Without a doubt, the beach angel holds riches for us all, not just for historians and writers. Its high intensity and ability to concentrate makes it an ideal ally for people taking exams or those attending interviews and meetings. Beach calms us and is perfect to summon for assistance with homework for adults too. Perhaps you call on the beach while you are creating your deck of cards if you haven't started already. In this respect, it is particularly effective with children who have already spent time in a forest school, which will have helped to develop their neurological pathways and ability to be in the present. Without the blessings of the beach, we become absent-minded and forgetful. We lose our sense of place like a leaf blowing in the wind and find our energies dissipating easily. Life starts to seem bland. When this angel is absent entirely, we become disloyal and conspiratorial, secretly plotting against and ambushing each other. And the Angel Oracle has a little poem for us, and it says, protecting the heart, create space for trust, for new growth. Remembering brings wisdom. We learn for the future from our experience of the past. Spirit overcomes time. I love that. That is so beautiful. And as I was reading this, I was reminded of these times when, especially perhaps more in the past couple years, people at this point of what's the point? What's the point? Right? Everything, all this crap that's going on, all the different man-made disasters to natural disasters, and the point is stepping out of those cycles that we thought were correct and for the best, and really leaning into playing your cards in your healing path is going to create a whole entirely different way of life, and it already is, and it's so beautiful. And thank you so much for taking such sweet care of yourself, for steering clear of danger, for playing your cards, for helping us shuffle states of emergency into adoption spirit magic. Heartily, we are grateful. Until next time, ciao for now. We love you all.